the fighter and the kid. We've all been wondering what they think about the Pete Davidson, Louis CK thing. People have been clamoring. They go,
I haven't.
These guys put shoes on the table.
You're right. We should respect them more.
These guys put shoes on the table. And for me, I think it's very important to know what they think of the Pete Davidson, Carlos Mazza thing. So let's check it out. Here we go.
CK.
He does?
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, he legit reason too.
Oh.
Right,
I can tell you. I'm not giving away the joke. Has a special. Pete Davidson has a special on Netflix come out, right? And he goes hard on Louis CK.
He does?
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, he legit reason too.
Oh.
It's a legit reason because you were there, Brendan. I mean, it makes sense. The Pete that he sees at the comedy club,
Because
by
he
the
wasn't
way.
nice to me.
Yeah, it's a legit reason too. Louis, with no facts, he's already going into it. And by the way, he says here that he's not going to ruin the joke. Spoiler alert, Mike.
Does he ruin the joke?
I can tell you. I'm not giving away the joke. But he sat down with Charlemagne, who does these one-on-one interviews. They're fantastic. It's on YouTube.
Are they? Are they fantastic interviews?
And he's just talking about Pete Davidson by, like, you know, he dates the hottest chicks. For whatever reason, he gets the hottest chicks.
Oh, dude!
I hate...
The amount of puss that Pete Davidson crushes is bananas.
Brendan Schaub and Pete Davidson are a race for me to hate them the most. It's like whoever's speaking is the one I hate the most at that given moment.
It changes
yeah,
all the
it's
time.
always changing.
Right.
Has a huge dick. Huge dick. Did you know that?
No.
He's the originator of Big Dick Energy. Ariana Grande started that with Pete. Has a huge cock. And
he seems to be going in on the cock too much.
He's got a big cock, though, Royce. Can we talk about Pete Davidson's cock for a little more?
Sure.
He's on Saturday Night Live and all that, but he
Never
suffers
heard
from
of it.
horrible depression, dude. Awful depression. Talks about how he cuts himself and all this shit.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And how like on...
He's got those giant bags under his eyes.
He's the nicest guy, though, man. Have you met Pete?
No,
he's
never
the
met him.
nicest fucking guy. And everybody hates on him. Like, I wonder why.
Why would you hate
Is
him?
it just because he gets a ton of chicks?
Because he's a douche.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, he's got it figured out. That's what it is.
You fucking these guys, man.
They're cavemen. They're literal cavemen.
All about fucking crushing puss.
They're literal cavemen.
The only reason people don't like Pete Davidson is because he has a lot of sex. Do you understand that I don't give a fuck how many women he fucks?
Yeah,
he is hateable. You know who else was fucking a lot of women? Louis CK. He was fucking a lot of women, a lot of hot broads, someone he was married, but he was. And that's fine. You know what I mean? Good for him. But they're childish, dude. It's the jocks table at a fucking high school. They think the
you just don't like him because he crushes all that puss.
They think the only reason that somebody doesn't like them, doesn't like Pete, doesn't like Rogan, doesn't like Death Squad,
because they're crushing.
it's because of the sex.
Puss.
Jesus Christ, you're simpletons.
Is it because he fucks all these really famous chicks?
I think that has something to do with it, and then I think it's probably a group of people who love Ariana Grande.
But why would...
Yeah, no, it has
total
nothing to do
sense.
with the fact that he's a fucking hack. He's not funny.
He's a douchebag. He's hateable.
He's a fucking douchebag. He goes in on everybody, but when somebody goes in on him, he plays the victim.
Cries like a little bitch.
Yeah, he
It's
fucking
nothing to do with
yeah,
any
he
of that.
fucking has hand tattoos. But no, it's the puss.
Who do you think?
It might- it might-
She broke up with him.
It might
Because fan
also,
bases go kind of crazy.
it might
even
also
after
be
the-
He's always, he had hate
because-
before that, though.
No, but he without even trying makes news, and so people.
That's what he said, and he was like, man,
He's not trying.
No, he's like, I just want to be a stand-up and do Saturday Night Live, and he's like, on Saturday.
Bullshit. That's a lie. Pete wants to be a rock star. He lives like a rock star. He acts like a rock
Wants
star.
to hang out with rappers.
He wants to
and
hang
all
out
that
with
shit.
exactly. So don't fuck. Oh, I just want to do my comedy. No, you don't. You know who just wanted to do his comedy? Louis CK just wanted to fucking do his stand up and write shows.
And jerk off in front of girls
and
once in a
jerk
while.
off in front of girls with consent, of course.
Saturday Night Live, I get what he's saying here. He goes, on Saturday Night Live, he's like, I had to say something to the writing room because they always made me have to be the dumb guy. So
And I'm a smart dude.
Yeah.
Because, smart people always really want to push how smart they are.
Right. And they want, and every time we talk about Pete Davidson does have a pretty loyal fan group, and it's usually fucking 20-year-old fucking dudes or chicks that like Pete Davidson and
People that see the loser they are in Pete Davidson.
right, exactly, yeah.
in every bit, I was the dumb guy. He's like, obviously, I'm not a dumb person, but they made it to be like this. And he goes, and I'd go on the road, do stand. Well, no one wants to pay to see a dumbass. Like, no one's going to pay to see a dummy.
Well, how do you expect you selling tickets?
And that's not true at all. There's plenty of dummies that are hilarious. Rich Voss is an absolute dummy, and he's hilarious.
Yep.
He's one of the funniest, meanest, quickest comics out there. But you know what? Rich Voss, for all intents and purposes, is a fucking dummy.
He is. But he's very funny.
And he sells out everywhere he goes, so stop.
So it's actually-
Louis J. Gomez is by no means considered a Rhodes Scholar in any social circles. People line up to go to those shows, right? Like,
Yep.
There's a lot of comics that are dumb in that they come off approachable and likable, and people are like, Bobby Kelly is another guy that would probably be considered. If you put him in a room with a bunch of fucking Mensa candidates, he's a fucking dummy. Very funny comic, brilliant. So stop, dude, stop.
hurting me.
Fuck.
He goes, so I had to go in the writing room, like, no, I'm.
So he
I'm-
couldn't sell
he goes,
tickets
Yeah, he's
as
like, I
well?
can't be the
Wow.
dumbass of every scene.
I'm sure they
every now
love
and then,
that.
fine, but I can't just be the dummy and everything.
I'm sure they.
Yeah.
love
Also,
that.
you know, he's having a hard time a lot of times. He doesn't
You know,
need.
he was a comedian phenom, dude. He was like 17,
Yeah.
doing legit stand up.
Oh my God! Did they just suck Pete Davidson's dick for 10
This
minutes?
is what they do. It's just dick sucking. It's just all this dick sucking.
Really.
And then opened for Chappelle and just.
He
his
did
story-
Wild and Out when he was, I think, like
Wild-
18.
yeah, he's on Wild and Out.
Yeah.
He talks about. I've always liked him, man. But
Imagine saying being on Wildin' Out is a big fucking deal.
Huge deal.
Imagine saying that being on fucking Wiling Out.
Oh, what's up? You're too cool for Wiling Out, Royce.
The people that watch Wiling Out get Feds magazine.
he's super nice.
hot
I love
Cheetos.
Pete Davidson, but talks.
What's that other show? The fucking other show, the Tosh show where they watch YouTube videos, but it's on MTV.
Ridiculousness.
Yeah, that's another one. That's a fucking another one.
With Rob Deerdeck.
Yeah, Ridiculousness is the show that's on wherever your Molly dealer lives. Like, that's what's on the TV. Yo, dog, did you see that shit? Shut up.
About again, he has a bit out of it, but it opens up a special how when he was on Saturday Night Live, Louis CK was on there, and you know Pete Davidson smokes a lot of weed because instead of taking prescription medications, weed helps him calm down and not be so.
No, he's a
crazy, right?
fucking pothead. Let's just stop with the bullshit here. He's a fucking pothead.
I really hate that. I really hate that whole fucking instead of taking this, he's no three. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, let me guess. Instead of fucking taking Xanax, he cuts himself.
Yeah. Let's be fair here, okay? Smoking weed, and all these people that go, nah, man, it helps with my anxiety. No, being addicted to marijuana doesn't help with your anxiety. Let's just stop. Let's just stop right there.
So he's a big advocate for weed. So he was smoking weed, you know, on the set. You know, that's what he does. Lorne Michaels smokes weed, but not as much as him. He was saying. So he was getting high, and that's when Louis C.K. was hosting. So he says he gets off the elevator, and Louis C.K.'s like holding court with all the cast members, and Pete just like waves, and Louis C.K. in front of everyone goes, "Look how fucking high." That kid, look how high Pete Davidson is. Look at this fucking kid who's so goddamn high, man, smoking his life away. And Pete said he was so high, he's like, that didn't happen. That's not real. Whatever. He gets on the elevator. Next day, he gets a call from Lorne Michaels' office. He goes, which is weird because I've been here for how many, 6 years?
He's telling the entire
Entire
joke.
story. Also, I love the fact that even from Pete's own story, he's like, yeah, I was so high, I doubted that it even happened. But this guy's a dick for pointing out that I was that high, right?
But you're right. And
He's making a valid point. He was probably fucking off his. And by the way, I also don't believe that he was just smoking weed. He was probably fucked up that night in general, and he probably got called out on it. So what? That's life.
He goes, they've never once called me. So I thought, fuck, here we go, I'm going to get fired. So he thinks he's going to get fired every week, right?
listen to this. He's telling the entire bit.
He's not going to spoil it, though.
He goes up there, and Lorne Michaels goes, hey, want you to know Louis C.K. came to my office yesterday and asked me to fire you. Wants me to let you go. And Lorne Michaels like, not happening. Like, smoke weed, but maybe just don't do it as much in front of the guests, stuff like that, but do your thing. It's what makes you you. And so Pete Davidson's like, what the fuck, man? Say he was just a dick to all young comics he's ever met. He's just, Louis C.K.'s been, that, you know what's going on. He's been a dick his entire life. So I'm not.
Notice something with this story.
Bryan Callen's not interested in it.
Well, not only is he not interested, Bryan Callen's not wanting to burn any bridges.
He's playing the wow.
Bryan Callen's not burning any bridges because Bryan Callen has little TV shows and he wants to make sure just in case.
Bryan Callen's treating Brendan Schaub the way you treat a girlfriend who's telling an endless story.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's the premises. But his joke is, he goes, so then I wake up one morning, they talk about Louis CK jack on front of women. I just go, yes. And he goes on this bit, but, you know.
Well, here's the difference. Brendan, you fucking mourn, and I get you guys are kindred spirits, you and Pete Davidson. You're both fucking stupid. Except Pete Davidson has a courage. Pete Davidson has a courage to cut himself. Here's the difference, bud. Louis CK was getting consent from women to jerk off in his hotel room. Pete Davidson is at his job getting so high he can't remember what the guest host is saying. Do you not see the difference?
Not even can't remember, but it just doubts it even happened because he's so fucked up.
Well, if you talk to any young comics, that Louis C.K. is known for that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, especially around New York.
I'm not saying anything.
There's a reason why a lot of people are like, oh.
I'm not saying anything, which means maybe Bryan Callen has said something about Louis before.
Wow, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Louis, from my experience, I
I've
don't
never
know
met
him.
him.
Louis was never a very warm guy, or
That's one of the issues.
He didn't
when the
seem very generous.
Yeah, when that's
Neither was Eddie Murphy. Like, fucking.
What do they owe you? Is what I don't get.
No, but seriously, you know who else wasn't a warm guy? Richard Pryor. Like,
you know who other people? You know what is another guy I never hear stories of generosity about? Bryan Callen.
yeah, that's right.
Brendan Schaub.
I've never heard stories of generosity from them. Have you?
stuff came out, that was one of the issues. Is he was just an asshole to everybody. That was one of the issues.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, fuck that. Yeah, let him fry. You know. Heard his
It's
new hours,
not-
pure
this
fire.
kinda-
though.
according to reports,
Pure
he was
fire.
he was not known in comedy circles for exposing himself. It's not true. And forcing lesser known comedians to watch him. It's not true. This is when people start fucking things up. It wasn't known. In fact, I've been in this business a long time.
Louis CK jacking off?
Yeah, it wasn't really known. That wasn't
known,
until
Brian.
things
You just
started.
don't have any real friends.
Yeah, no one tells you anything.
You don't have any friends in the business, Brian, that really like to tell you anything, but it was kind of a known thing.
Coming out, and then that story came out. That there was one story. I know the guy. I know a lot about it. These things get a little crazy, but I will say that my experience is
You called it right away.
that
Yeah.
So remember, these are the same guys that when we were making fun of them, and we are currently still, we're making fun of them, goes, that's all they have to do is criticize other people. That's what their entire show is. It's criticizing other people. That's all they do.
What does anybody do?
What are you doing?
What are
you guys doing? You're criticizing Louis, right?
They're sitting around like a bunch of fucking little ladies at the fucking hair salon.
Yeah.
Gossiping.
I think when you're
When
an
you're not
older
nice to
comic,
people-
when you're an older
Yeah.
comic and you're established, it's upon you to make it easier on younger comics.
Why? Why? No, if you're an older comic, your job is to be a fucking comic. What does it matter? I really don't understand this. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. Is this like, do they believe in some sort of like comedy socialism where you have to spread the comedic wealth?
I don't know. And I don't know when anytime, like, I don't remember a time when comics were all out here nurturing each other. Like, it's always been a competitive field.
And Louis has, but here's the thing. This is where this kind of all falls apart. Louis does help comics, the ones that he likes. Watch his show, Louis.
Yeah, but that's all of us in life. We help the people we like.
Yeah.
It's not up to us to help everybody. And Louis doesn't have to give a work to a guy who's stoned and not taking his job seriously and has fucking knuckle tattoos. He probably found Pete to be fucking off-putting. Like most normal people that don't go, oh, look, it's Pete Davidson. Louis probably viewed him through the lens of a grown-up and was like, the fuck is this kid? Just showing up all fucked up and shit. And I also don't believe he contacted Lauren.
Louis C.K. has had so many different people. Let me tell you, Louis C.K.'s had comics that he's had on his show. You ready? He's had Pamela Aldelon. He's had Todd Barry. He's had Hannah Waburris, young comedian, by the way, at the time especially, young comedian. Rick Crom, Nick DiPaolo, Robert Kelly, Dane Cook, Jim Norton, Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, Sarah Silverman, Chelsea Peretti, Ricky Gervais. Dane Cook, I said Joan Rivers, Bob Saget, Doug Stanhope, Gabby Hoffman. Let's see here. He's even Jay Leno, David Lynch, Amy Poehler, Parker Posey. Don't fucking tell me that he doesn't help comics out. He doesn't help your little comic friends out. And that's why you're butthurt. He doesn't help the comics out.
Yeah,
that's what it is. He doesn't help the comics out. And because he doesn't help the comics out, Louis is a piece of shit. Fuck you. Are you kidding me? Louis having a 5-minute conversation at a diner is funnier than both of your guys' entire catalog. That has to hurt. That really has to hurt you. When deep down inside, no matter what you throw at him, and no matter what you do to Louis, no matter what you say about Louis, whether you like Louis, and by the way, there's stuff that Louis does in his politically in his personal. I don't personally like it. You know that letter he wrote.
Oh
about
yeah, no,
but we're talking
he can be
about
insufferable
but we're talking
in
about
certain
comedy.
areas. But yeah,
It's gotta hurt you, Brian.
And be cool. And be generous. And
it means the world to young comics.
it
man.
does. And I've seen a lot of comics through the years.
So when you see us, Brian, you're gonna be generous and warm to us.
I would hope so.
You're gonna be warm and generous.
Going to be a man of his word, Royce.
You know
I
who
can
else you
feel
should
it.
be warm and generous to, Brian? Your wife and kids.
Well, it's a little
I'm
late.
just
I think
saying.
that ship has sailed, Royce, and you're just rubbing it in, and that's not nice.
Yeah, you should be warm and generous to them. Have you thought about that? Hey, Brendan, you know who you should be warm and generous to? The UFC fight doctor who has several medical degrees.
What's paying your life?
And you make him sound like a ching-chong ding-dong. Maybe you should be jealous to him, be nurturing him. Hey, you know who else should be generous to, Brendan? Shane Gillis. The same guy who was doing his thing and wanted to be on SNL, the same show Pete Davidson is on. And then the moment he got kicked off, you sided with them kicking him off the show because, like, yeah, man, making fun of Chinese people is the same as the
funny,
N-word.
man.
He's just funny, man. That wasn't nurturing. Shane is a young up-and-coming comic. That's the problem with you fuckers. You guys want everybody in your little crew. You want everybody who buys $3,000 sneakers to have Louis CK fucking be nice to them. You want people that still buy diesel jeans for Louis CK to go, hey, you wear tight pants and have a neck tattoo? I'm going to help you out.
But you can't just admit that you want something, so then you have to go like, man, it's just fucked up. You should treat people better. But you don't treat people by this standard. So it's very hypocritical. I hate these fucking LA pieces of shit. I want to take them all down one by one.
Who would go up and bump everybody because they do 2 hours.
Not these days, though, is it?
Not
You can't really
anymore.
get away with it anymore.
Not
Like at
anymore.
the store, if you tried that, you know,
Yeah,
if
who are you
can you
gonna
imagine?
bump? Who are you gonna bump?
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's say
Yeah.
someone came up and bumped me. Like, you didn't bump me. I'm the new guy, right?
Yeah.
They bumped me. I went to you. I was like,
A new guy that parks where only the veteran comedians are supposed to park because you're Joe Rogan's friend.
And that fake humility isn't going to last. It's not going to be that way forever.
Yeah.
I'm the new guy. Eventually, he's going to start getting cocky and being like,
He's already cocky.
well, you know what I mean. He's
Yeah.
going to stop. He's going to drop the I'm the new guy act, too.
hey, dude, blank X comic bumped me. You and Rogan or whoever, like, they did what?
Yeah.
Well, that's not what we do around here.
No.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
It's not what we do.
No,
around
just
here, right?
exactly. But
It's not what we do.
I'm glad you caught that, but something else. Rogan. Daddy Rogan will take care of us. If somebody tries to take our hours, Daddy Rogan will take. Let me tell you fucking something, you fucking loser, Brendan. If Louis CK went to the fucking comedy store or whatever and wanted to do 2 hours, Joe Rogan would be like, take as long as you fucking
Yeah,
want.
so why are you calling me?
Kidding me?
Getting me involved in a beef with him?
Are you fucking kidding me? Do you think that if fucking Dave Chappelle showed up and wanted to do fucking a 4-hour special, they wouldn't tell you and fucking everybody coming up behind you, hey man, sorry, tomorrow. You're going to have to come tomorrow.
Chappelle, dude. Everybody
What do
stop.
you want to do? So shut the fuck up.
And it used to
and
be-
take me out of it because I'm their friend.
But it
Anybody.
used to be
They'd be
what
like,
you did
"Excuse
do.
me?"
You'd bump and I was
Yeah.
like, I never did that ever.
It's because you don't have enough material, Brian.
Or enough clout.
Yeah, or enough comedy.
Could you imagine Brian Callen bumping somebody in Los Angeles?
No, seriously. I can imagine him buying a bump from somebody in Los Angeles.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Everyone's so nice. Like last night, I was sitting before I go on my set, and Bobby comes up and goes, hey, you know you belong here, yeah? You know you belong here.
Oh.
You just tell I was in my head.
Isn't
Other than
that
that,
sweet?
Ew. Ew. Remember comics used to be brutal to each other and it was hilarious? And they liked each other. I'm not saying they did
So
it. But now this fucking kumbaya
It's so
bullshit.
castrated, yeah.
Fucking, hey man. Hey Mike, look at me. You know you belong here, right?
Well, yeah, it's half my show.
Good. Get out of your head, bro. You earned it.
Oh, this is. I know. It's
Hey,
half mine.
Hey, stop naysaying yourself.
It's half.
Hey,
I'm not.
Look at me.
I take half.
Look at me.
I take half credit for this.
You belong here.
Okay, good. Glad. Thank you.
That's
First
really
time,
cool.
yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really cool.
Good for Bobby.
It's
That
cool,
fuck.
man. Good for those guys. That's so
He
cool,
looked
man.
fucking sweet too. He took his glasses off, but he had these fucking this sweet outfit on.
Yeah.
Look at
He's got a
Letterman.
podcast with Santino now.
Yeah, they do. It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's not great.
I want to hear it.
Nobody
I bet
loves
it's
it.
They
hilarious.
the guy put twins, obviously from the movie Twins. People are like, oh, but that's
Hey, show's over. We don't have to do this anymore, Royce. Royce, we could leave right now if you want. They can't even yell at us because it's 6 o'clock.
Obviously, from the movie Twins, Mike. Obviously, from the movie Twins. I think that's a great way to end this segment. I think that we couldn't have picked a better way to end this segment.